Heather mentioned, in 2014, I formed a nonprofit called 3.5 Acres Yoga. We wanted to bring yoga to survivors of trauma, not one specific kind, like just for vets or just for these people, but recognizing that so many of us have been through trauma, and really, as we look to the definition of adaptations that we all have, right, through our generations, through our family history, through not being able to be authentic, how we close off parts of ourselves and create these adaptations. We wanted to help people. And we realized that yoga teachers weren't really trained to go into these communities, and they would unintentionally harm where they meant to help. And so over the years, I created a training to make spaces safer. It works for yoga spaces, but it works for all communal spaces, because we know when we're in a group together, there are people there that are in an active trauma response. There are survivors in every room. So becoming more conscious of that, the book walks us through just understanding trauma in a different way, generational trauma and other events that could create trauma. It talks you through the adaptations, how to recognize them in yourselves and in others. If you're a yoga teacher, this breaks down how to make your room safer, much, much safer. There's small things you can do, whether you're teaching in person or online. If you're a practitioner, the book will empower you to realize what you need in your practice and how to ask for it, how to change the scene for you. And as a human, it can help us to recognize that trauma, again, is in every space. In this book are 5 teachers who I've taught trauma-sensitive yoga, and they share their personal stories of not only surviving trauma and thriving through yoga, but how they've passed that on to their parents, who they never thought they could get to do yoga, to teaching folks in a bed, in a chair, and how they're spreading in their communities what they've been taught through our program. So it's pretty powerful to hear their stories. I think that's a great feature of the book. And there's 260 photos of different bodies, shapes, and ages practicing asana. So I'm not going to read too much for the book, but I'll just read one short passage. You will never convince the mind to let go of trauma through thinking alone. But if you involve the body, the mind will change. Every unprocessed life experience is stored in the body in some way. Most of us deny or are disconnected from how profound an impact our mental and emotional lives have on the body until the body makes it known. Our back goes out, our stomach cramps, our jaw aches. We can't move our neck. Only when these alarms sound do we start investigating what's been going on in our lives and how our bodies are bearing it. Where trauma is involved, this tightening of the body is likely its best defense, and may be a defense that it still needs. And I think this is a really important part for us, right? Those adaptations, those tightenings, they're serving a purpose. Asanas that are introduced without trauma sensitivity in mind can leave a person defenseless, overwhelming the nervous system and causing additional harm. Instead, trauma-sensitive yoga presents options that allow for the slow and safe opening and releasing of tensions, emotions, and memories. Even this release can be too swift. Trauma-sensitive yoga teaches the student how to notice when they need to pump the brakes to stay in control. Though some practitioners find the initial release of sensation intense, they also report that through regular practice, emotional releases become much smaller and more manageable. So that's a little bit from the book. I hope you'll come by the table if you'd like to learn more about the book or my organization. And again, a really big thanks to you, Heather.
That was amazing.